Today's video dedication is for Whiskey Jack. Kicking off the Brothers' War with Liberator Urzas Battlethopter versus Azusa this time. And that is a one-lander with a bunch of heavy cards in hand we will have to mulligan. Takes us into some fast mana with means of refilling our hands, so we definitely keep there. I think we're safe to get rid of the Thespian stage. We're up against a green player, so it might be that we end up losing our artifacts, but we'll just have to try here. Play out the Makokoro, obviously the Mana Crypt as well, and we'll go for our commander during our opponent's turn. And they throw out a Soul Ring of their own, so going to see a turn 2 Azusa most likely. Nothing to do with the Mana Crypt, so we'll play out Liberator. Draw into Forsaken Monument on turn 2, so yeah, can't go for that quite yet. It'll have to be the Mask of Memory, I think. Plus counter on the Liberator because the CMC of this card is bigger than the Urzas Battlethopter's power. Equip the Mask of Memory and then swing in for 2 points of commander damage. Mask of Memory obviously lands, so we draw 2 and discard 1 here. I think getting rid of the Joyra's Familiar is alright. So with that we can throw out the Arch of Orazca, hopefully get into a land next turn so that we can throw down the Forsaken Monument. Now seeing a Beast Whisperer before they throw out their Azusa. Alright, it's a 1 Power Stone for us, so maybe not playing a Forsaken Monument this game. See what we draw into. Swing straight in over my opponent for 2 points of commander again. And there's no reach or anything in the way, so once again we hit, we draw 2 and discard 1. And there is a Blast Zone. So yeah, let's get rid of the Liquimetal Torque here. And then we can play the Blast Zone and hold up the Forsaken Monument, I think. Because that will double up our lands that tap for colourless. Actually, it's any of our permanents, isn't it? Yeah, whenever you tap a permanent, you get an additional colourless, so it will work on rocks as well. Out comes Azusa, it will cantrip thanks to the Beast Whisperer. Just noticed as well that we're up against Mango, who is a loyal patron of the channel. Been with us for quite a while now. Throws out a bunch of lands, goes down to 4, and plays out a Bonder's Enclave, which might be relevant. Instead, deciding on a Fierce Empath, which will tutor for a big creature, as well as draw them a card. And they have tutored themselves a Thorn Mammoth, so we really want to be seeing ourselves a means of Shroud or Hexproof, something like that. Don't have protection from green in the Sword of Fire and Ice, unfortunately. Our opponent has to be wary of the fact that we can cast things at flash speed. Shouldn't really swing in with the Beast Whisperer here, and intelligently he does not. So we'll throw down the Forsaken Monument here. And once again it is a plus counter on Liberator. Okay, and a Gilded Lotus does not tap for colourless mana, so won't work with the Forsaken Monument, but the Mind Stone is free here, so might as well throw out the Mind Stone, I think. We gain 2 life whenever we cast any of our spells here as well. Then I think we're just trying to get ourselves into some protection, so I won't bother trying to hit our opponent with the sword. Blowing up the Azusa doesn't really matter anyway. So swinging for 5 points of commander now at our opponent. Managing to hit them once again. They are at 9 points of commander, and there we go, we see a Lightning Greaves, that's excellent. And instant speed All is Dust is good as well. Let's get rid of the Gilded Lotus. And we can actually afford the Sword of Fire and Ice. We'll equip that before we put Shroud on our commander because we'll need another creature in play to remove the Lightning Greaves otherwise. Then out comes Lightning Greaves. We are at 43 thanks to the incidental life gain. The Lightning Greaves onto our commander will hopefully hurt that tutor for the Thorn Mammoth. Could be that they've got some means of removal on the Lightning Greaves though. Yeah, pass at that. Alright, it is a Tooth and Nail there, so they went for the Tooth and Nail to just put 2 creatures from hand onto the battlefield, I think. So that was a Thorn Mammoth and a Regal Force, so they will draw 5 cards there. Go up to 8 in hand. Managed to get themselves into a Reliquary Tower and a Forest, 6 cards left in hand after that. And tapping out, starting to be more aggressive with the swing in because we've only got 1 mana held up, makes total sense. I don't think we really have to worry about commander damage from Azusa unless they've got Krayt in the deck. Alright, so a commander's plate for us now. We can swing in at our opponent. Could have got the commander's plate on, I think, but yeah, we wouldn't have been threatening commander damage anyway, so we'll just see what we draw into here. We're about to draw a bunch of cards. So we'll put Sword of Fire and Ice on the stack last, so that we've got more cards to choose from with the discard from the Mask of Memory. 2 damage onto the Beast Whisperer, because we might play the Staff of Nin and finish that off. Then 2 cards, Mask of Memory. Let's get rid of the 1 Power Stone there. Right, so Thran Dynamo is going to cost us 4 and tap for 4. We'll get down a waste. So Thran Dynamo effectively free here. And then we can play Staff of Nin before we lose the floating mana and before the damage is removed from the Beast Whisperer. With the floating mana, get down the Commander's Plate as well. Problem with equipment is that we can't equip at instant speed, but yeah, we can make use of some flash things in this deck. Get rid of the Beast Whisperer, and then it's 2, 4, 6 mana, so can't go for all this dust. Might as well equip this thing, although no, we can't, can we? Thanks to the Shroud, I did point that out before. So yeah, we're just holding up the Unstable Obelisk. We can do that during our opponent's turn. They really need an answer for the Liberator at this point. Just have to get rid of the Lightning Greaves first, and then maybe they can fight it out of the way. Shamanic Revelation for more card draw. We'll draw them 4. Alright, and there we see the Rex Sage. So here's where we are potentially punished for having Lightning Greaves instead of the Swiftfoot Boots. I think both are in the deck. So Rex Sage obviously going onto the Lightning Greaves, and that will be blown up here. Alright, but it's just 1 creature coming down at least. So Courser of Krufix is going to have the Thor Mammoth fight our creature. How is this worded actually? Fights up to 1 creature you don't control. This actually, I didn't realise the toughness had got up so high on this, so yeah, actually can't fight our thing out of the way anyway. I don't think they have any reach either, and we're still north of our starting life total. That's about to change here. They turn everything in sideways. We go down to 29. Eternal Witness is on the stack. We can see that thanks to the Courser of Krufix. We'll get down the Unstable Obelisk during our opponent's turn. And then I think we're not going to waste any more of our opponent's time. We'll just turn in sideways here. Draw an additional card from the Staff of Nin. We just draw into Sanctum of Ugin and an Ancient Tomb. We will turn in sideways here and deal lethal commander damage. Okay, there is a Force of Vigor from our opponent. So yeah, they would have been able to do that in response with the Commander's Plate anyway, so don't feel too bad about that. Let's go an instant speed, all is dust, I think, just so that we can take advantage of the double mana from the Forsaken Monument. So tapping down 2 of our rocks for 7 mana, and we'll play the All is Dust, gain ourselves a couple of life. Each player sacrificing all permanents they control that are 1 or more colours, which is obviously none of our stuff. That is an instant speed. Single-sided board wipe. They still get our commander here though. Suppose I could have floated some mana for recasting the commander there. Yes, it will return back to the command zone. We'll throw out the Ancient Tomb. Just throwing it out during the main phase here because I want my Thopter to have protection from colours. Where is it? With the Commander's Plate. It's effectively hexproof in a way. And we can still threaten commander damage on our opponent next turn because we have the Sword of Fire and Ice to equip yet. So this is now a 4/5 with protection from all colours. So even if they get a Reacher or a Flyer down here, it shouldn't matter. Alright, there's the Eternal Witness. They can blow up the Commander's Plate. They'll still need a fight creature after that though. We did actually see the Eternal Witness. I totally forgot about it. Instead, going after the Fierce Empath. Casting the Fierce Empath. And there we see a Bane of Progress. We'll wipe out all of our artifacts. They can't quite afford it here. Yeah, that's a real shame. So instead going for the Garruk's Uprising. They were just 1 turn behind us here, I think. Draw an additional card to the Staff of Nin again. Alright, and we'll get down the Darksteel Citadel. That won't die to the Bane of Progress. Equip the Sword. Might as well equip the Mask of Memory as well, just in case our opponent has any more surprises for us. Then we swing straight through our opponent thanks to the Commander's Plate, 6/7 in the air. And that will be lethal commander damage by the looks of it. Alright, there we go. Massive thank you to Mango and the rest of the patrons. Let's have a look at what he had here. Avenger of Zendikar, a Ramunap, and a Mana Reflection. So yeah, being 1 mana shy of the Bane of Progress really hurt there. We'll try another one. Mango deciding to jump into another game here, so still up against Azusa. That is a slow start for us, so we will mulligan into a 1-lander. Yeah, I don't fancy my odds going slow against Azusa. I mean, Sensei's top could get us into a turn 2 Everflowing Chalice, maybe. Yeah, we'll just keep that. Get rid of the Fire Shrieker here, I think. Seeing a turn 1 Llanowar Elves from our opponent, we are on the draw here into an All Is Dust. So get down the Arch of Orazca. We'll have to go for, not that, a turn 1 Sensei's Divining Top, and then we'll likely have to spin the top during our upkeep just to ensure that we actually make lands. So down comes Azusa really quickly, and there's the Bonder's Enclave again. We've only got 2 cards left in hand, so that might buy us some time here. Spin the top during the upkeep. Excellent, and no lands on top, so that's probably this game done already. Elemental Bond, so managing to get into the card draw, and now no cards in hand thanks to Circle of Dreams Druid. Swinging in at us for 1 with the Azusa. We'll see if we've managed to draw into a land off the top here. Nope, there is a Wayfarer's Bauble though, so we'll draw into that. I think our opponent just threw out a land there, so going to start chipping away at our life total. And still no land, it is a Forsaken Monument. We will, yeah, we'll get rid of the Forsaken Monuments, so Skull Clamp, Swiftfoot Boots, Forsaken Monument we will discard this turn, I think. Azusa just drawing into lands, which can happen with Azusa because you've got to put so many lands in that deck. We've had 5 turns to find a land here, and yeah, not going too well. There's an Eldrazi Conscription. Yeah, I think we have to discard the Eldrazi Conscription here. Azusa continuing to draw into lands. Alright, there we go, an Urza's Factory, so let's go Skull Clamp, Swiftfoot Boots, and draw into the Urza's Factory finally. See if we can actually do something against our opponent this game. Wayfarer's Bauble into play, and we can shuffle the cards away on top that we don't like. Survival of the Fittest can help fix their draws here, potentially. If they draw into a creature, then yeah, they can get into the Regal Force or something like that. Already saw the Bane of Progress last game. So now, instead, during the upkeep, instead of spinning the top, we will crack the Wayfarer's Bauble. Obviously go for a waste with that. I think we've got 9 of those in the deck. Pass the turn at that. Drew into a Joyra's Familiar. And once again, just drawing into a land, so yeah, they've got plenty of mana, but nothing to do with it, thankfully. It's only a matter of time, though. It's turn 8 now, and we've just got 3 lands. There is a Blast Zone, that's excellent. So, do we go for our commander yet, or not? Maybe setting up the All Is Dust to help slow them down with Elemental Bond and Survival of the Fittest. Like I said, it's just a matter of time before they get something relevant. Yeah, if we go Grim Monolith, we can go All Is Dust next turn. So play the Grim Monolith, that will tap down for 3 mana. We might as well get down Everflowing Chalice as well for 2 mana. Oh no, they're finally casting something, of course. This is when, yeah, I'm sure Magic Online is rigged sometimes. And I'm joking, by the way, I don't actually mean that, but yeah. This is where they get into the Shamanic Revelation as soon as we get into something that can actually help us. Discarding a Sakura Tribe Scout to the Survival of the Fittest will allow them to tutor for a card. Alright, it was a Regal Force that they went after, so maybe they won't get into the Bane of Progress. They will get into more, yeah, if they tap down the Forest, or the 2 pieces of green mana, then hopefully they're not holding up a tutor for the Survival of the Fittest. And hopefully they don't just straight out top deck into the Bane of Progress. There is a Rites of Flourishing. Could have done with that a turn or 2 sooner. Still holding up the Llanowar Elves, so yeah, Survival of the Fittest is still a risk for us. Draw an additional card to the Rites of Flourishing. Okay, Mystic Forge, still not drawing into lands, annoyingly. So can we just go Ugin into the Solemn Simulacrum here, I think, making very little use of our commander thanks to being so slow. Let's go for the Grim Monolith into the Hedron Archive, because that will replace a couple of mana from the Grim Monolith straight away, which won't untap, unfortunately. We can still afford the All Is Dust this way. Then we can go for the Unstable Obelisk, which will tap for a mana. 7 tap and sacrifice, destroys a permanent. And then it can be Solemn Simulacrum, just turn 9 and really focusing on ramping still. So, yeah, not in the best spot we could be in. There is a Reclaim, put a target card from graveyard on top of the library, so once again going for the Shamanic Revelation. And this would be the chance for us to blow up the survival of the fittest, but doing it at instant speed for obvious reasons. A wild growth from our opponent onto the Temple of the False God, so that will tap for 3 mana. And there we see the Shamanic Revelation again, 44 life they are at, and 6 cards in hand. And then we see Nissa Vital Force, a very good means of card draw, especially in Azusa. Then animating the Temple of the False God, and down to 2 cards in hand. Suppose we can hope that they don't have a creature available to them. Just drew with the Bonder's Enclave. Got a couple of big creatures now. Alright, playing out Ramunap, so again we can just hope that they don't have a creature in hand. Swinging in at us with that, we will block with the Solemn Simulacrum. Simply doing that for the card draw. And these small creatures have actually chipped away at half our life total over the course of the game. Okay, Sword of Fire and Ice. They've still got mana held up. Circle of Dreams Druid. They could have done something there, but decided against it. We draw into a land and an Unwinding Clock. So we can really play around Unwinding Clock here, I think. Yeah. We can actually land Ugin the Ineffable, and then go Unwinding Clock and our commander. I think that's alright here. Then, even if our opponent has a Beast Within or something, I'd rather hand priority over to them whilst the Unwinding Clock only costs 2 mana, as opposed to destroying the Survival of the Fittest. Yeah, I'd rather do that. So they might destroy our Ugin here, but so be it if they do. We get removal out of their hand at least. And they held on to priority there, but then decided against doing anything with the Unwinding Clock. Let's destroy the Survival of the Fittest, see if they want to do anything with that. Alright, so either didn't want to use it for whatever reason, or they didn't have a creature in hand maybe. Alright, a Worldly Tutor from our opponent. So no prizes for guessing what this is. Okay, is an Avenger of Zendikar. I want to wipe the board during the upkeep, which means they'll get an Avenger of Zendikar. I think they're playing nice with us because they could easily go for a Bane of Progress here, but yeah, Mango trying to play fair against us considering the game we've had. So let's go for the Liberator at the end of the turn. And then we've still got mana held up to spin the Sensei's Divining Top if we want to, so yeah, I'll just hold off on it for now. Oh, whoops, I accidentally just I just played through the upkeep anyway, so they've got a chance to do something here. Might just play straight into an All Is Dust. There is Avenger of Zendikar. We'll let them do all the card draw shenanigans. Might as well wrap up all the plants and stuff in this All Is Dust. Now they've got a bunch of mana from the Circle of Dreams Druid. It might be that they have Genesis Wave or something, a Sol Ring. They haven't gone for the Planeswalker emblem yet. Alright, a Bonder's Enclave. Let's go for the All Is Dust now. That was actually a happy accident, as our friend Bob Ross would say. Because they haven't got the emblem yet with the Nissa. So here is a 5 mana instant speed Wrath. Liberator will put a plus counter on itself thanks to the All Is Dust. And do they have something to do at instant speed? Just float in the mana. So 22 mana being made there with 2 cards in hand. And like I said, I think that Mango's just being kind to us because he's obviously assuming that we're getting content here. He could have gone for the Bane of Progress and wiped us out previously with the Tutor. This assumes he doesn't already have it in hand though. Dropped a land, which I'm assuming he just drew with the Bonder's Enclave. And there we go, the Bane of Progress, which is why he didn't tap out into it, so yeah, wasn't being nice at all. Gave him too much credit. Spin the top with the Sensei's Divining Top, and I think getting into the Sol Ring will be helpful, so yeah, it's Gyreach Sanitarium, Bonder's Enclave, and Sol Ring is on top. Then we can, yeah, we'll draw a card, protect the Sensei's Divining Top, and we don't have any mana held up to sacrifice anything, unfortunately. Could play out the Sol Ring for free, crack the Hedron Archive to draw, but I think we'll just hold on to the Sol Ring in this case. So our commander goes back to the command zone, it's turn 11, and we are facing down a 9/9 Bane of Progress. There we see Azusa again, 1 card left in our opponent's hand. And the last card in their hand is an Artisan of Kozilek, so they'll fish something out of the bin here. That's the Regal Force, so they'll draw 3 cards. Findhorn Elves, 2 cards left. A Beast Within just blew up our Ugin the Ineffable. So that's, yeah, That really hurts. That makes it an uphill struggle here. Obviously drawing to the Sensei's top. We know we've got a couple of lands on top of our library. So throw down the Sol Ring. And we've got Annihilator to worry about as well from our opponent. So get out the Urzas Familiar. And then we can play the Sensei's Divining Top here. And play the Mystic Forge. It's actually a combo that we've assembled here. So Mystic Forge out, we can play colour spells off the top of our library. Sensei's Divining Top is free, so we draw into whatever card is on top, replace it with the Sensei's Top, and then play the Sensei's Top off the top for free thanks to the Urzas Familiar, making our artifacts cost 1 less. Managing to find Mana Crypt off the top, so that makes us a little bit more mana. And now we start finding all these lands, ironically. Seeing a Metal Worker as well, which we can't give haste, unfortunately. The Felwar Stone, any 2 mana rock that taps for 1 will replace its own mana thanks to the Urzas Familiar, so won't get it down yet, but we can play any 2 mana rocks for free effectively as well. Yeah, so Mango's seen enough there. I mean, pretty much what we're going to do here is get out all of our rocks that we can afford. We drew into a Liquid Metal Torque as well, which will be played for 1 and tap for 1. We'd eventually likely get down the Metal Worker, give it haste. I don't know, I've just been kicked out into the lobby now. I was looking at the graveyard. Can't remember if we saw Lightning Greaves already or not, but likely can play Lightning Greaves to give it hexproof, to give it Shroud, but more importantly haste, and tap that down for a bunch of mana, and then can play a bunch of Eldrazi and stuff like that. So we don't necessarily automatically win that one, but it's Magic Online and it would just go on forever. We can hopefully get down enough permanents to play around the Kozilek Eldrazi thing, whatever it's called, and then get our Eldrazi down next turn to annihilate his board. Yeah, that was the loose plan anyway. And it's yet another example of why you don't quit. I thought Mango was going easy on us there, but he just had the Bane of Progress in hand and absolutely wiped us out with it. Just got lucky being able to assemble the combo in the end there. So hopefully you all enjoyed the deck. Massive thank you to Mango again. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.